Time for the John Riggins Show, Dexter.
Let's get it going.
Tuesday, November 3rd, Election Day. Thank God it's about to be over.
Yes.
Riggo.
Yeah, well, when you first, that Billy Preston song there, when I first hear it, I think that the circus is coming to town. But then kind of it always is that way, Dex, when we get together. How you doing?
Better than good, better than most.
All right, just want to check, see if you remember from week to week. Todd, how are you today?
I am doing great. I've got my microphone on this week.
That'll work.
And so for, I plan to participate a little bit more, a little bit louder this week, just based on, sometimes there's some technical difficulties. Not often.
This was pilot error, though. Don't talk about it.
Yeah, but
let's
the
be
good
honest.
news, actually, let's go with co-pilot because the plane kept flying. The plane kept flying.
I agree with that.
That's
Maybe
true.
the navigator went
true.
down.
Well, that's true. The right seat. That would have been me, so I was in the right seat.
He's the co.
No, I'm the
You're
co-pilot.
the co-pilot. I'm
Oh.
the navigator.
Oh,
You're the
I'm
pilot.
You're the pilot.
Well, then I would be the guy to be working the controls. See? So you're the pilot, actually.
You're the pilot.
Yeah.
But the plane, you guys stepped up.
I'm on.
You guys are the
Dex
star.
is the navigator.
Yeah.
Then we are in trouble.
Not with GPS.
I agree with that.
We can get around now.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, that was a good, fun show with Hardbody Harrison and Dexter.
Watch it now.
Great,
Watch it.
Great fun.
Watch it, and you're telling folks to watch it, or are you telling us to watch it?
I'm telling Todd to watch it.
I hope Hardbody.
Hey, after what I saw, Dex, I might want a piece of you. I mean, I'm not real sure about that. I've been thinking about it for a week.
Slow your roll, John.
Yeah, I got to remember, he's 10 years younger than me. Well, actually, maybe 5.
Actually,
he might finally tell us how old he really is.
Yeah. We learned you're actually only 9. Only
Yeah.
9 years now.
Yeah,
So for
it's
those
creeping towards me.
For those that may not remember, Dexter broke it down for me almost a year ago, in which he confessed his true age to me, and it was like going into a church and. And he said, "Excuse me, Todd, for I have sinned."
Well, did the team have your birthday wrong too, or you just been? I mean, is it all these years? It's like nobody really knew.
I've been fibbing ever since high school.
Is that right?
Yes.
He had to unpack it.
So what do you tell? Oh, you've been telling people you're younger than what you are.
Yeah, because of my peers. I was in there, and when I was in elementary school, they all went to the next grade, and I wanted to be with my peers.
So he got held back.
I got held back.
He told the story to us Saturday, the story behind the story of why he confessed to me. It's a beautiful thing.
That reminds me of years ago, I was in Chicago and saw one of the Hall of Fame football players. I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want to embarrass him. Not that he'd necessarily be embarrassed. But I asked him how old he was, and he told me some goofy number. Like he was like 70 or something like that.
I know who you're talking about.
And you know he was older?
No, listen to this. Next time I finish the story.
Okay.
So I went, oh, really? Because I'm thinking to myself, God, he can't be that old. No. He told me he was way older than he was. And so I'm thinking to myself, well, okay. And then, I finally went, well, that just seems odd. So next day or whatever, I looked it up. And, of course, he was a lot younger than what he said he was. And I realized he has to tell people that because he looks so bad, but he was a big, heavy drinker.
Yeah, and I think
He's
you
a party
probably
boy.
used to watch him on TV.
Yeah, he was a party boy, but and then he lied up, and that don't happen very often. I did it once, and I got a ticket in Colorado, lying about my age. Go figure how this happened. I know how it happened, because we went out there with once again. I don't want. Well, actually, I probably can because everybody's deceased in that family. The Louis Llama Company, boot company. I used to do some stuff with them, and Louis, who was the president of the company, and his brother Joe, I think it was.
Wait a second, not Tony Llama?
Oh, Tony, that's right, Tony Jr.
Okay.
No, where did I come up with Joe?
Tony and Joe's.
There you go. That's what I'm probably thinking. Probably really what
Now
I'm
we're
probably
down on the
thinking.
Georgetown waterfront.
Yeah, well, which has nothing to do with making boots that I know of.
It's more licking boots.
But if COVID sticks around like this, they may be making boots because probably the business ain't as good as it was. But anyway, I got to be pretty good friends with Louis, and we went on a hunt. And what was I telling you the story for? Now
you lost your. You got.
Oh yeah,
lying
about
about your age.
So we went on a hunt up in Colorado, in Durango, Colorado, and there was one of the guys in the group they saw some elk on the way out to where we were going to, park our cars, and we had horses. We were going to backpack into the mountains, and not for the day, but just ride in, tie your horse up and wait and see if you can see an elk and shoot an elk. Well, these guys got ahead of themselves, and they went ahead and started. One of them, who was the wrangler in the group, he started, he had this old rifle his dad had given him, a Winchester Model 70 pre-64, which is really one of the best guns ever made, production guns anyway. He slams 2 elks right off the road, I guess. And it ain't long, and John Law shows up.
License and registration, son.
Well, let's see. You just get in the back of our car. We'll go down to the courthouse and sort it out. So these guys, I don't know if they spent the night in jail or whatever. Well, I don't think it was that, but they obviously got rode up for basically shooting elk off the road, which you can't fire a firearm. But they had licenses and stuff. And then I think they were trespassing on top. So there was a little laundry list that went down. So the guy that did this, his name was Wayne Knisley. I'll never forget this. Wayne Knisley.
Yeah.
So about 2 months later, I get a call, because I was living in Virginia at the time, from the Fairfax County Police. And he said, "There's a bench warrant for you." And I went, "What?" And they said, "Out in Colorado for something giving
You're a
false
wanted man?
for giving false information." I'm, "What?" Well, when I went to get my license in Colorado at the time, you have to have been either you had to take a hunter safety course, or you had to be so old. Well, I'm born in 1949, and the cutoff out there, if I would have been born a year earlier,
48.
48 is what the year was. So I told him, I said, and I wrote down 1948, they wanted to see my license, and I went, "Oh, man, I left it at home. I'm out here." And the guy goes, "Well, okay. Well, I'm thinking maybe the little infraction got Wayne Knisley involved, or maybe this guy went, I think I better turn this over to Wayne." Somebody rolled over on me, I think, one way or the other. So anyway, I get the call, and that's what it was. So I lied about the same thing. I lied, and like I say, most people lie younger. Unless you're as a kid when you're 18 or 17, and you're trying to buy liquor, then you try to lie older. But most people want to lie younger when they get to be my
Why were
age.
they checking your date of birth?
Because if you weren't born before 1948, you would have had to have shown them a hunter safety course that you took.
Yeah.
Without
in
that,
the day?
Yes, this is back in the late 80s. You had to show them a hunter, I think it was 1987 or 88. You had to show them a hunter safety certificate that you had taken this course, that you were safe to hunt in the woods.
Yeah.
I've been hunting all my life, I kind of went, but tell that to Wayne Knisley.
48, 49.
Hey, I have
And so, the best I could do, because it was, the thing on it that said making false statements. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm thinking of my future, and I'm going, well, I endorse a few products, and I'm thinking making false statements.
Oh, you're going to the big house.
Well, yeah, I just figured, well, that'd be the end of my endorsement deal if this ever makes the light of day. So I got an attorney out there, and that ended up costing me like $1,500 for an attorney. And Wayne Knisley finally, he was willing to basically bring it down to hunting without a license to get rid of it. But it was still the same fine for, I forget, it was a decent fine too. So that's what you get when you lie about your age.
Well, if you forget, John, I have something for you. Take that pill.
Okay. I'm going to take it once I get home.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want
Doctor
This is going to make me
Feelgood.
start doing push-ups and all that stuff.
No, I don't know, man.
It's just going to ease your mind, and
Well,
life's
it's in a
gonna
bubble
be-
pack, so I feel it's got writing on the back of it, and maybe it's got a. Did this come from China by any chance?
No, it came from the guy next door.
Okay.
And the guy next door is a licensed physician, and
Okay. Anyway, we've got a lot of stuff to do today, so we're going to get to it. Enough about lying about your age. Dexter, my wife, works for USO here, and she's executive vice. Well, she's executive president, executive vice. I don't even know what her position is, but she's like second in.
executive VP for the USO Metro.
Yeah, she's the second in charge, and eventually will be the number one person in charge. But she had a little event down at Quantico, the Marine Corps base that's here. It's been here forever. Will Bentley happens to be the guy that runs the entire shooting match down there. Everything is under his Colonel Will Bentley, good guy. Grew up over here. Grew up about I don't know how many doors down from Joe Gibbs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
He
over in
lived over
Oakton.
in Vienna.
Yeah.
The whole deal. And I was only about from where he was as a crow flies. I couldn't have been more than a mile away myself. Just a different neighborhood. But anyway, you guys went down, and it was, I guess they were having Halloween for the kids.
Yeah, they were doing basically a family fall festival,
Yeah.
Halloween, and with COVID, everything had to be scaled back, and everybody's taking all the necessary precautions, and Dexter was the celebrity guest of honor.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful fall day out. Did not realize, Dexter, until you just told us now that you've never been on a
Military base.
Military base.
Well, I tell you what, now that you said that, and John, I didn't realize, well, I did kind of realize that his wife was in charge of everything. So I had to bring everything with me because I didn't know if I had any warrants. I had bought my Social Security card, I bought my passport, I bought my birth certificate, and my driver's license.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
You were ready to go, huh?
He brought his A game. It was like Super Bowl Sunday. And,
I'm sure once Dex passed the threshold of Quantico and he was actually on the base,
Yeah, once
then
we-
Dex probably started
we got-
sweating. Are they going to let me back out?
and Colonel Bentley and his wife and family, a tremendous brunch they put together.
they did.
And Dexter, to Dexter's credit, Dexter was tapping in because, you did a nice shout out to the Marine Corps Marathon,
Yeah.
and everybody's, is doing it virtually this year. And
Yeah, right.
and Dexter heard that there's, they've got like 100,000 fans. On the Marine Corps Marathon and
easy.
on their Facebook and their social media groups. So Dexter's like, he was magnificent. He was parlaying his visit into, hey, Colonel, little love for the John Riggins show and the podcast of that 100,000.
right,
are we
right.
doing this? And
Oh, I'm sure that Colonel Bentley, because he was a huge fan of the team, he was that perfect age. I can't remember if he was in school about the same time that J.D. Gibbs was.
yes, I
It's
believe that is correct.
sometime
You're
in there. Although, interesting enough, though, I guess what he would have went to in the same place where the Bethard boys went, which is kind of weird.
Oakton High School.
Yeah, to Oakton, because James Madison was right there in that area too.
Yeah, the dividing line was
Yeah. So yeah, I'd say that we have a little sway with Colonel Bentley. I mean, if you want to go down, and I used to go down there. Occasionally I went down to the FBI school, which is down at Quantico, but a lot of times I had some friends at the sniper school down there. In fact, they let me go back in the machine shop where they did all the stuff, made the rifles, or I should say, they didn't make the rifles, but they fine-tuned the rifles that they got. And I remember I glass-bedded a couple guns down there, had one of them do it. So I was pretty friendly with everybody down there. And I was going to say, one day we went over, met some other folks over there, and this guy was an EOD. It's the ordnance people, with the bombs and all that stuff. Went over and tossed a few hand grenades and did all this stuff. So my point being, Dex, I think with Colonel Bentley, now that you've met him, we could easily go down there for a day and basically be, if you're into any of that kind of stuff, we can shoot, we can throw hand grenades.
He offered the invite to one Dexter Manley, and Dexter, what did you say?
I don't.
You said, hell no.
Oh yeah.
Dexter's like, I never fired a gun. But
he's had all his friends that had guns.
and I think Riggo can be the guy
To fire the gun.
To
Get the gun in your hand.
Get the gun in your hand. I could see you throwing a grenade.
No.
Oh yeah, Dex.
I think they got a record down there to see who can throw a grenade the farthest, and I think Dex could go for the
Oh,
the
I'm
record.
in.
Y'all
Yeah,
really-
I like that.
But I don't think you can throw a grenade like this. It's like
What is
stiff
it?
arm.
The old. That's what you see in the
Otherwise,
movies.
the
in
shoulder-
World War
the
II.
shoulder-
In
yeah,
World War
exactly.
II, it was more of a toss than
There
a
was
throw.
nobody winding up like Sandy Koufax.
And there's your one-arm pitcher.
Hey, you guys are really talking way too fast. I had some on my mind and I've lost it.
right.
But anyway, John.
It happens to me all the time, Dex. Don't feel bad.
That's why I gave you that pill. How many guns do you
That'll
have?
help me remember.
How many guns do you have?
I don't know. I'm going to guess at one time I had about 35, but I think I've kind of lightened my load here, so I'm probably down into the 20s, I'm guessing, something like that.
What is the oldest gun you have?
The oldest gun? Probably
Because you
my
said
dad's
something
gun.
about this rifle that someone had or some kind of gun. You said that.
So the rifle that the guy that took out the elk had a
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
the
famous
Model
old
70
school.
Winchester,
Yeah.
which is a very prized rifle if you can find one, pre-64.
Pre-64.
In other words, it was built before 1964. I can't tell you exactly. I think there was something in the manufacturing process they switched over. But those guns back in those days, I mean, that stuff was all done by hand. And then, of course, with machinery that was invented, like, with cars, a lot of that stuff's made by robots. Not that they had robots in 1965, but, there was so much stuff done by hand that they're just such a quality piece of machinery, really. Yeah. Well, and, you can appreciate them for that, if nothing else.
Yeah. Well, John, I want to tell you, pulling up to the base, I noticed that we got through the gate, got through, and I saw this guy stand on the side, off to the side on the street. It was the colonel.
Colonel Bentley was waiting for you.
Colonel Bentley was waiting. But he had a John Riggins jersey. I offered to give him a Dexter Manley jersey. He refused.
He did.
I tell you what,
he did
now
have your jersey on.
He did.
I'm
but I didn't
guessing.
see you really unfold the Dexter Manley jersey. That was in your imagination.
Right. I was going to see when he's going to take it, but he didn't take it.
Oh, you had one with you?
No, he acted like he had one with him. It was the first thing he met, and he goes.
I was going to say, because I would not be surprised now that you've been down there that he will have your jersey up in his office. I will not be surprised at all.
Yeah.
I agree.
I would have to say that.
So Dexter, we they gave us a great tour, and I have a real appreciation for history, and to see the history.
Well, you act like I don't.
No, I said we.
I have appreciation for
history. We have some
history.
pictures of you and me appreciating together, Dex.
Okay.
We're in a vicious agreement, brother.
Well, they got a museum down there I plan on going to. Did he take you through it?
Well, we didn't have time.
Yeah.
And we're going to come back because it is. And Colonel Bentley was telling us that they have so much that is in storage that could fill like 10 museums. Yeah. And he has some unique pieces and spread all around. But we saw guns going back to World War I. Yeah. He had some that he could have pulled out, but again, we're limited on time. Going back to the Revolutionary War. Can you imagine that? The original muskets going back in the day like that?
He's got something down there that was either the weapon was the first, it was a new weapon in the first
Gatling
shell.
gun.
Is that it was in World War I or whatever?
Yeah,
the
so
first
we saw
fired the first round.
The Gatling gun. And you're going to see a picture up here with Dexter and I, and it is the Gatling gun, and it was a prototype, and then there was something that didn't quite meet the specs, so it never got officially used. But then he also had a shell that was fired. It was a mortar.
The first one?
Yeah.
He's got a lot of firsts down there.
I think it was at Guadalcanal.
Maybe that was
Guadalcanal.
How do you remember all this stuff, man?
I don't know.
History
Dexter.
buff.
Yeah, I am.
And now you're giving me a great idea because I am going to go deer hunting and we're going to be doing the podcast from Kansas here in about 3 weeks.
We are, Dexter. Did you know that?
Am I going to Kansas?
I mean, if you want to, Dex, pile in
more
with
than
me.
welcome.
But
living on the land.
I can tell you right now,
wait,
Dex, you don't want to make this trip because we will be camping out in
No, I'm not going.
Yeah, you won't. I don't think you.
And I
like
look forward to this every year because about 48 hours in advance of the trip, John starts contemplating, why am I going again?
Yeah. My daughter Coco said the same thing. Daddy, every time you come home, you say you're not going back again.
It's an annual right. It's like Rocky Raccoon. And then
it's like the football with Phoenix,
Lucy and Charlie Brown. This year, I'm not going to let go of the football. You remember the cartoon?
No. Well, let me ask you a question. When you go on this trip, you going to stay out and
I'll be camping out.
Yeah.
In other words, we got to work this out because I'd like to get a what do you call it? If I had a connection from out there, I'd like to do the show from my phone.
We're going to make that happen. I feel confident.
I don't know. I don't think I would get online.
Listen, you told me that you get an internet connection out there, right?
Yeah, I can get online from out there.
Then we're good.
Well, that's good.
Then we're good.
Wild animals out there too?
Yeah, but they ain't real wild. It ain't like I got grizzlies there. But this is what I love about. You could never appreciate this growing up. I say this all the time though. That where I was on the eastern edge of it, but 200 years ago there was like 60 million head of buffalo going up and down there, which means there were all kinds of mountain lions, wolves, grizzly bears. I mean, it wasn't like Africa in the diversity of game, but it was like Africa in the amount of game because there were just so many numbers, all kinds of elk and deer and antelopes and sheep, and I mean like bighorns.
You and I have talked a lot about this in respect for the Indian culture and the way of life out there. And what you just said, you said 60 million buffalo, right?
I think they've estimated to, anywhere from 30 million to 60 million. I always go with the other number.
But either one of those numbers, isn't that amazing that's if you saw all those buffalo and the fact that they were that close to being extinct.
Well, what's incredible is that they, in 10 years' time, in a decade, they completely eliminated them.
Right.
And I always thought this was kind of interesting, really. Of course, they were wild buffalo, but I guess at some point now they've domesticated a lot of them. But here you had all this protein out there, right? 60 million head of buffalo. And by the way, they breed with cattle. You get a product called beefalo, which is a combination. So they're compatible.
Are you serious? I've just learned something.
Yeah, I am
Beefalo.
serious. It's like
Never heard
donkeys
that
and
term.
horses. Donkeys and horses breed, and you get a mule. Of course, it depends on which way it goes, whether it's a male donkey and a female horse, or a female donkey and a male horse.
Dr.
So
Doolittle
that's
right
a
here.
henny.
This is the guy,
I see.
right?
I see.
That's
A
a henny,
beefalo.
I believe. Yeah,
A
a
beefalo.
beefalo. That's what they call it. But there was all this protein out there, and they just said, "No, we need to tear up that sod out there, and start planting corn, get rid of those buffalo." And they go, "Okay, we got rid of the buffalo. Now put some cattle out there. Put 60 million head of cattle out there." It's like, well, we had all those buffalo. Why do we need cattle? I mean, you think about, well, I don't want to get into it because it gets political, and so I'll just stop right there.
Okie dokie.
Okay.
But I was, you can't imagine. When I grew up as a kid, there was barbed wire everywhere you looked. Everybody, a section of land is one square mile, and that's the way it's laid out. The geological survey laid everything out on a grid out there, and every square was barbed wire around the whole square mile, and then inside that it's 160 acres, or a quarter section that homesteaders could get. So they would barb wire theirs. They would have barbed wire around theirs, and then inside there you had to break that down. So you'd have 80 acres, and there'd barbed wire there, and they'd break that down to 40. I mean, I grew up, and I've always wondered why I've always felt penned in, but it was literally like kind of figurative growing up in Stylog 13. I mean, I've always felt compressed somehow, I guess.
We're going to see next up is a nice little collage of some of Dexter's activity out at Quantico here.
Okay.
And
Some of the troops there with
there's
Dex?
some of the troops. Dexter's the VIP. Now they held a costume contest
Costume.
and various age groups, and these are some of the winners. That's the Wizard of Oz family. This family, now he was with the British military on an exchange program. That last gentleman and his family, and this young man won as a caterpillar. It is a caterpillar.
Oh, that's a caterpillar. I couldn't quite make it out.
Exactly.
I thought he was going as a robot. That used to be a big costume back in my day.
Right.
Get a cardboard box and paint it all silver, and then you'd be a robot.
Exactly.
Now this shot right here, go back to the other shot, Todd.
All right, we shall do that.
Yeah, not that one.
The one
with the young
before.
boys.
It's coming up.
Yeah.
This one or the next one?
The next one.
Well, the next one's going to be the family that went as the Wizard of Oz. So the
Oh,
Tin Man.
yeah, I see the scarecrow.
Right.
Tin Man.
Yeah, right here. Now, let's
Okay.
stop right there, Todd. Yeah. Now I started playing football with these guys.
He played football with these guys for 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah, one I wanted to be John Riggins.
These kids?
Yeah, I told them.
Oh,
I told them to
okay.
be John Riggins.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
They knew who the hell it was.
Yeah, and
but
they were
wouldn't-
running routes, and one can catch. Could you catch when Joe got you coming out of the backfield?
I think so.
Yeah. Well,
But they didn't take my word for it. I didn't want to run past routes to Dex. I just extra running for no reason. And Joe Theismann was not throwing me the football unless he had to.
yeah. Well, anyway, these kids had pretty good hands. Where you say they from, Todd?
They're from England.
From
and
England. Oh,
so they
really?
when they're
They're
talking
soccer
about
players.
football, but they came back and they said, and there's like, and it's fascinating to hear the accent and stuff, but you're right, the one kid had really good hands.
Good
but
hands.
Dexter played catch with them for 10 to 15 minutes, and everybody was taking it in, and it's a beautiful fall day out at Quantico. Now, here's the part that it was the highlight of the day.
It was the featured part.
And this was aside from Dexter the celebrity, and they had the Marine Corps
K9.
their band. Actually, their band
that's
was
right,
out
they
there
did it.
playing, and it wasn't the big. This was more like their fun, funky court that was a lot of cool people out there.
Yeah.
But they had their K9 unit out there that.
That was a K9? That was a little different than a K9.
No. Well, so, these dogs, they're just amazing. And they do a demonstration of how they take down, apprehend, and these are bomb sniffing. They fight in all of our wars.
I've got a good friend of mine who lost his dog in Afghanistan.
Didn't one of them take down Saddam Hussein?
Well, yeah, there's been dogs that used to sniff and find these guys and take them down, and so they had this great demonstration. They had they did two different ones. One was with the German Shepherd, and Belgian Malamute was Malamute.
Yeah,
I believe I'm
that's
saying
another
that
dog,
correct. Was the second one, and Colonel Bentley was telling us, how fast these dogs run and how they will take you down.
Yeah.
And I used to joke about your old hunting dog Badger used to hit like Mel Blunt, I would imagine, or Kenny Houston or something with the dog.
You had a dog? Hunting dog?
I had a hunting dog, Dexter. That dog weighed about 65, maybe 70 pounds.
And could run.
Really?
And he came by me one time and clipped me. I mean, just barely hit me from the side. And I mean, he knocked me to the ground, and I was not happy, to say the least. He clipped me, but what the hell was he thinking? I'm telling you what, it was just a glancing blow too. I mean, it wasn't like he, dead center. He didn't line me up or anything.
This dog could roll. This dog was just built. So I'm explaining this to Dexter, and the dogs were in their kennels before, and I'm explaining to Dexter, and Colonel Bentley's weighing in with some color commentary and said, yeah, these are amazing animals, what they can do.
Yeah, right.
And when they hit you, you're going down.
Yeah.
And what'd you say, Dexter?
I said, I think I could take those dogs on.
He did.
But I've reassessed the
First of all,
He did reassess.
First of all, Dex, once again, you're going to have to come clean, because since I've known you, you're deathly afraid of dogs. Well, I can't even imagine you. I mean, a Chihuahua will put you up on a chair. So in fact, the cats that are at my place kind of make you a little nervous.
It makes me a little nervous.
So now you got a German Shepherd, which trained, and you're going to take one of those on. I'm going, Dex, what's going on here?
Well, I'm just rethinking the situation. There's no way I could take a dog on, particularly that dog.
Well, let's just say we put a muzzle on him. That way he can't get a bite, okay? And then just let him run at you. You figure you could go ahead and stand your ground?
If he got a muzzle on,
Yeah, so he ain't going to bite you. All he's going to do is run at you,
hit you,
and he's just going to launch.
like they did it, like they
And
did in this
you
demonstration.
don't think he can knock him down? You don't think he can knock you down?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
All right, so here we got some footage of inside the ring, and then I make a comment at the end, and this is where Dexter, he starts to reassess the situation here.
Okay, yeah, this is... Yeah, and I think the one thing, Doc, you told me, right?
That's the Belgian Malamute right there.
That one, the one that's lunging?
Look at he can't wait.
He already knew he saw the bogey. Really?
Your dog was like that?
No.
Would he
Well,
latch?
if he was another dog, he was like that. That's why Badger's no longer with us.
So the demonstration here, they're showing that, first off, look at the dog's tail is wagging, because this is all he's trained to do and is in love right now.
Yeah. In other words, go ahead.
And they will only listen to their trainer that has trained them with specific commands.
And he would not let go.
No, if he says, it's like Todd says, that dog is there until the trainer comes up and says, okay, enough. Meaning this,
Dexter on Danny White.
the dog could be your biggest fan, right? Because he heard rumors. Yeah, here he goes doing a little loop-de-loo there. But the dog heard that you was saying, hey, you ain't that tough, all right? But the dog is your biggest fan. So the dog's looking at you, Dex, going, Dex, I'm your biggest fan. I like you. But you see, that has nothing to do with it. This is my boss. He just told me to take you down. And that's exactly what he would do. They're completely, they are what they are. They're machines.
And so with
Look
that,
how that
with that right here,
Yeah,
they take him all around the ring, because this dog is not going to let go until the command is there. And then he comes right past us, and this is where Dexter really has a change of heart.
Right. Look at that. He's just walking along with that guy.
And he ain't going to lose that grip.
Could you take that dog on, John?
Hell no. That stuff makes me nervous. I'm going to tell you something.
Yeah.
A dog bite, it's amazing. You look at a dog's teeth, and they're not, and cats, the difference between a cat and a dog's teeth, is considerable. Obviously, a dog's teeth is larger, unless you're talking about a lion or something. But I'm talking about a house cat. But the house cat's teeth are so much sharper. You look at a dog's teeth and go, but I think it gets down to the power behind that bite.
Yes.
It's so many thousands of pounds per square inch, and I think like German Shepherds are way up there, and I'm sure those Belgian, that you can't appreciate exactly how quickly and that they can basically pierce flesh. I mean, it's nothing for them. Well, they're predators for crying out loud. Once upon a time.
The gentleman that was doing the demonstration and wearing the jacket that provides the protective covering, afterwards he'd taken the jacket off and he is sitting there, he's winding his arms and he's feeling, because even with that,
it's like being in a vice.
Yeah. Amazing animals. Great time, Dexter. Congratulations. I salute you. You were a huge hit with the troops.
You were, for sure. At least when he told me that they loved having you down there.
We salute, and we'll get back down there because, the offers, we're going to get you down to site.
Oh, yeah.
I
mean, Colonel Bentley has invited me down. It's just a matter of working it out, maybe. And if you want, Dex, come with me, because I guarantee you, you don't have to shoot any guns. Or you might want to throw a hand grenade. Of course, that always made me nervous. You always want, what if I get that one hand grenade?
The one when that goes off too soon?
It goes off as soon as you pull a pin, it goes off.
There's that.
I think I'd have to walk through that and say, let's go through this again. Now, tell me again how that pin works. But anyway, yeah. That is Quantico. You get an invite to go down there. It's a great opportunity.
I accept the invitation.
See the military.
All right.
Oh, excellent. Okay,
guys, let's get into
foodie ball.
The Burgundy and Gold will be back in action after a bye week here, and this is their chance this week.
Right.
Playing the New York Giants. New York Giants, which we'll talk about in depth a little bit more, that only have one win, but they beat the Washington football team a couple of weeks ago, 20-19. But do you realize that if Washington wins this game, they'll be 3-5 and 3-1 in the division? So it's theirs for the taking.
Wow.
And as bad as this division is, that's pretty remarkable, all things considered. So you've got the trade deadline that's coming up today at 4 o'clock.
That's today?
That is today, Tuesday, November 3rd.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty quiet, though, from everything I've read and heard about. In other words, the latest article I read, I think you may have texted to me in the New York Post, that there's really no interest in number 7. But Kerrigan may be the one guy that they expect if they get the right deal. So I don't know, what that right deal. I have no idea what a team would offer for Ryan Kerrigan. And clearly at this point,
based at 32, at 32 years old.
Exactly.
Correct.
He's going to be the last. He'll be a piece to fit into a defense that needs a little bit more oomph than their pass rush.
That's got a chance to do something in the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know, what do you spend for a guy like that? I don't know, a 3rd-round draft pick?
Well, yeah, probably not. That's probably too much. And
4th round?
Right now, it's fascinating because Adam Schefter and a couple of reports came out over the weekend, 72 hours, saying that Kerrigan wants to be traded, not getting the playing time here.
Well, that's the bottom line.
Well, that's what they were saying. And to me, given the quality of the guys that were reporting that's kind of floating out the test market out there to see what happens.
Right.
Now nobody's biting to the degree that the Burgundy and Gold would like to get in return. Now, some local reports on, Ryan never wanted to leave. He never wanted to leave. Well, this is a business, and Ryan is embedded in the community here, does great things on and off the field. But it is a business, and if for the right price, Ryan Kerrigan would have been gone, may be gone, probably won't. Now, Rivera has even come out as recent as I believe today and is saying, oh, no, we want him for a long time, and, even after his playing days. So clearly there's probably not
until somebody dangles a number 2 draft pick in
damn, we're going to miss him.
Yeah, exactly.
But there are 4 teams have an interest in Ryan Kerrigan.
Supposedly.
Yeah, supposedly.
If the price is right.
Right.
I don't, myself, exactly, like you said, he's 32 years old. And if you're not, to me, it gets weird. Because if you're not playing him now, you think you're going to play him next year? Or you deal him in the offseason when it's kind of it's a similar situation, although we got a whole different regime out there. But the same situation they were in with Trent Williams last year. The longer you held him, his value just started going down. And the same thing will happen to Ryan Kerrigan if you can get whatever you can get for him now, if that's what your plans are. He's not a part of your plans for your defense right now. What I think, so I heard this the other day. In the last couple games or so, he's gotten 20-some snaps or something like that.
Right, because you've got 2 first-round draft choices that are your future is now with these studs.
Exactly.
So it is what it is. This is the business of football, right? You guys know it. I don't need to tell you, but this is the cruel, hard part of it. And so clearly there was some woofing on both sides to see what the interest level was out there because Why not for Ryan? You know, unfortunately, his career here in the wins and the losses.
Yeah.
If he's got a chance to be with a playoff team or a team that might have, you know, some realistic chances of going all the way, God bless him. I'd love to see that.
That's where you catch lightning in a bottle at the end of your career, which is a great. That's what happened to me. I mean, you know, I played for 9 years, then took a year off because my mind wasn't right. And then the banker said, "Son, you better get your mind right." And I said, "My mind is right."
Bill for that?
My mind is right, and I came back.
Yeah, I'm taking the first one.
And in my 11th year, you know, which is not too far off from where Kerrigan is. I mean,
Exactly.
we're almost at the same age. And all of a sudden, the very dream that I always wanted was to play in a Super Bowl. Lo and behold, you know, it was presented to itself. So I would be willing to bet you. I don't know. It's mixed emotions for him, I'm sure, because you are in this community. But I don't know if he's set up. You can always come back if this is your home.
Sure.
But the opportunity at his age to play on a team that potentially could get to a Super Bowl, my God, he'd jump on that in a second. Because the prospects of this team rebuilding at best, or just, you know, I think you have to throw the moniker out there that it's, you know, the blind sow will pick up a few acorns. And you don't know, maybe this is the year, but I doubt it.
You got to explain blind sow acorns. Blind sow acorns to me and Dex. You got to give us some
Well, think about it.
All right, so Dexter beat me to it.
Let me tell you something. Peel McClary was down at his station at the bottom of Main Street on Centralia one day, and I was talking about
Peel's a dude?
Peel McClary. Othel was his real name. I never have been able to pronounce it.
I go with Peel.
And so he's down there and he goes, I'll tell you, you know, I was blowing about, oh, hell, I forget who he was playing, some team, maybe it was Frankfurt. I said, oh, hell, we'll run all over Frankfurt, you know, because we're talking about football. And Peel looked at me and said, hey, you got to be careful there. Even a blind sow picks up a few acorns.
Okay, so
Does that
sow's a
mean-
cow?
No, a sow is a hog.
Oh, a sow's a pig. A sow's a pig.
A sow's a pig. So that means that all the other hogs out there that can see, they're out there just garballing all these acorns, right? Well, even a blind sow is going to pick up one or two.
Dexter, as it morphed
And Peel had to
east-
explain it to me, by the way, back and I'm going, what the hell does that got to do with us beating the hell out of Frankfurt?
as that saying morphed to the east, we said even a blind squirrel finds acorns.
Yeah.
Because I can relate more
There
to
you go.
acorns and squirrels.
There you go. Same thing.
Not picking
Todd.
on the blind animal kingdom or whatever. Hope all of our animals are full-size.
Wait a second. You've heard the old expression, even a blind squirrel will pick
I
up.
use that all the time.
I never heard that.
And so you hear a
expression.
blind sow. Todd, do not take any IQ test because when they give
Right
you
over the
that,
head.
when they give you that thing with a pattern in it,
Listen,
don't even look
I
at
said
it.
a sow was a cow, so that's all you need to know.
Oh, I got to take you guys to the farm.
Yeah.
You guys are moving real fast today because you were saying something.
We had a bye week as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we got a bye week. But do you think this Washington football team can go on this nice run and get to the Super Bowl?
This particular team this
Did
year,
you say?
Yeah,
I would say, I mean,
Super Bowl?
the odds of that happening, Dex, I don't know what they'd be. I mean, I would put
I'll have them for
I'd
you
bet
here in
a
a second,
dollar
but
on it
it
if I was going
ain't
to win $1 million back.
Dexter, come on, seriously, you don't mean a Super Bowl. Let's start with the division title.
I think they can go to the playoffs.
You think
Playoffs.
okay? Well, playoffs is one thing,
Playoff. I understand.
and
Personally, I don't see it, but I don't know how and that kind of we can kind of morph into one of the other topics is the 16 game or the 16 team tournament or I don't know tournament the 16 game
Playoffs.
game the 16 team playoff scenario that the league the competition committee is floating out there now.
They are floating this out today, Riggo, and what that is for those that have not heard yet, that there is built in some anticipation due to the pandemic that there might be some games missed. And
Correct. So they could have some teams that played 14 games, some teams that played all 16 and whatever mix in there, some 15 maybe. So they would break that down to whatever your percentage was, correct? That's the way you would get into the playoff.
So it would be 8 teams.
But
in
that
each
would be for
conference.
wild card spots or I guess division wins.
Yeah, and that's why we talked about also the scenario, which exists that 4 teams out of the NFC
West could go to the playoffs.
could all go to the playoffs, and so that's why Washington's road to this. Let's be for real. It's winning the division and a really bad year. It's theirs and the Eagles right now.
Yeah, I'd say the Eagles, I think. And the reason I say this is because I don't know if the defense can carry this team, because I don't think, offensively speaking, they've just got enough firepower right now. The quarterback is learning on the job. With the Eagles, you've got a quarterback that's pretty much, and they've been banged up a little bit. They get some of their people back.
Incredibly banged up.
Yeah, if they start getting some people back, they'll become the team that you thought they were going to be at the beginning of the year. I'm guessing, if you had to say right now, Dex, that I think that the Philadelphia will win this division. I don't see doubt. And you know what? Be careful of this team this Sunday. Because I think what you said, and I remember we talked about it yesterday, and I think, or the day before, and I remember telling you, I said, I got a feeling the Giants are going to give Tampa Bay a good game. And they gave them all they wanted.
Hey, I'm willing to put my tennis shoes that the Redskins going to run the table and get to the playoffs.
Run the table.
And on another issue here, do you think your friend in Kansas is a blowhard?
Which one? Peel? The guy that told me about the Flying South?
Yeah.
Well, he's been dead for quite a few years here. So, yeah, he's probably up in the blowhard pool hole right now.
He's been saving that blowhard line since he learned what it was like 2 weeks ago.
Well, I was almost going to use it on him today.
Well played, Dexter.
That was good. Peel was a little bit of a blowhard. It's true.
Okay.
His son was definitely a blowhard, Frosty.
And I will say this, John, about the New York Giants. They are the best 1-7 team out there by far. The quality of their play in the games that they have lost and how competitive I've seen most of their games. And last night at home against Tampa, they were winning 14-6 at half. That defense, they had Brady looking confused.
He was ready to cry.
To him.
He was ready to cry.
He was getting hit. And it went down to the final play of the game on a 2-point conversion in which there was pass interference against Tampa. Their young quarterback who made 2 critical mistakes that young quarterbacks typically make, that he's just got to learn to eat it instead of trying to make a great play.
Exactly.
That really cost them and gave the Patriots some easy points. But they had them on
the Bucs.
Yeah, the Bucs. That Tom Brady, how easily.
Well, you know what? Maybe it's Brady can't play against the Giants. He's still spooked from those 2 Super Bowls.
They did a whole pre-game interview all about that they're his nemesis. Yeah. And they had him, and they took him down to the final play of the game. And I was impressed that the Giants, you're sitting there going, hey, 1-5, 1-6, whatever. But this team plays hard. And it's back to what you said. Here, home against Washington, if Washington is good for it, they've got to take advantage of this opportunity. A short week.
Right. Yeah.
They're coming off a bye week.
Right.
So everything is in their favor.
And they're coming off a particularly hard loss. They to come fight back, and then you end up coming up short like they did last night. So you would think everything's stacked in Washington's favor. But that doesn't mean, this is where it gets kind of weird with me, because you wonder, is it, like I was saying, there is that Brady is the Giants, does he dream about him? To the point where that's one team that almost is like they wear kryptonite on their helmets or something, and it slows him down to the point he's not the same quarterback. Because the Giants, on the one hand, were a team, I think there were grumblings earlier in the year that Judge's job could be in jeopardy.
Very early on.
And, has he lost the team? Well, you wouldn't think he's lost the team. And to me, that's the type of team that's kind of dangerous in the fact that they get up on step, where they're up and out of the water, and they've planed out, so to speak. They could be tough. It really gets down to their quarterback, Jones. If Jones starts to play and learn from this, and the guy that they drafted, 6th overall or something like that?
Yeah.
If he starts to play at that level, because my thinking is their defense must be for real, that they have a pretty decent defense.
Oh, yeah.
And if that's the case, then, you can go a long way with that. And they may make a little, to me, it's like Dallas, and maybe we're overlooked, but I don't see Dallas getting back. I think Dallas actually will finish at the bottom of this division.
Yeah. What do you think, Dex? Dallas is they're beyond terrible.
They're terrible, but I'm just betting on the Burgundy Gold. They're going to get into playoffs. They're going to win this division.
All right. So, what do you think?
We know you're betting. Well, we don't want to get bet yet.
What do you think? We'll get into that right. What do you think the line is with the boys in Vegas? Washington football team at home, coming off a bye week against the New York Football Giants.
I think the Redskins are favored. The football team. Washington football team.
Yeah, I can't see where they wouldn't be favored,
Right.
but I would think that it's pretty close to a pick'em game.
Actually, a little bit surprising. Washington favored by 3.5 on the opening line. 3.5. So
Now tell me how that works, because I'm like
Yeah.
Dex in this regard. They got to give 3 points,
they're
right?
giving 3.5.
No, but I mean, in that. They
So
always say the home team. Well, of course, that's a flabby term now because there's no home field advantage.
Well, they still just
per
based
se.
on travel.
Yeah.
In the end, you don't have to deal with that aspect of it. It's probably the biggest advantage right now because still small limited crowds that are a non-factor.
Right.
So I think they're taking into account Giants short week
And
Redskins
and-
bye week is the biggest built-in off of that.
Well, John, they say 3,000 fans coming. Are you going to be there Sunday?
No, I will not.
Yeah.
You know, that's pretty weird. What'd you do this weekend? We know you went to Quantico on Saturday. What'd you do Sunday?
I just had sex with my wife.
That sounds like a very pleasant Sunday.
It's a long weekend.
Good for you.
It's a long weekend.
That's right. Now, don't tell me why you were watching football. Don't throw that in there.
No,
Did you watch any football?
A little Monday night I did.
Oh, so
Yeah.
last night, right? That would have been last
Last
night.
That would have been last night.
I just took the weekend off. I went to a nursery with my wife where they had a bunch of trees and stuff that I found a nursery over in Sykesville,
Maryland. Very
Took a little
nice.
drive, and it's a beautiful drive over there. You get on 32 and drive through there, and the guy took us in a golf cart and rode around on his property there and looked at all the trees and stuff. It was very relaxing, very nice actually.
Very nice. It was a beautiful fall weekend.
Yeah, it was.
Well-
Except you wouldn't want to have done that. What was it on?
Oh,
that morning though.
Woo.
Sunday morning was not pleasant.
Woo!
But it finally,
And yeah, that was a little breezy, as we like to say.
we've had some rain.
Well, here's to hopefully everybody having a weekend like Dexter's for the rest of the week and heading November, and we'll be checking back in with you on Friday.
That'll be it. I guess it's time for Riggo out.